Hey guys, Ryan here. And if you want a scoreline that looks a little something like what you're seeing in the background, well, this is probably the video for you. So first things first, your KD ratio, it doesn't matter, guys. And I will 100% admit that's probably very confusing for you because it's in the title, it's in the thumbnail. But once you start to realize how unimportant of a stat KD ratio is, it's going to instantly allow you to get a higher KD ratio because you're going to focus on actually becoming a better player in all of the things that actually matter. Here's a little fun fact for you. The player who's had the highest KD ratio at a Call of Duty championship in any Call of Duty was Kismet, who had a 1.5 KD ratio at the last COD champs. You heard that right. A 1.5 KD is enough to set literal records in competitive Call of Duty. So if you're stressing about your KD ratio, you probably aren't even thinking about the actual things that matter, and you're not thinking about the game correctly. If there's two stats I really want you to focus on, it's going to be your score per minute, and you can also check this in the stats section, and it's going to be your kills per game. One thing people underestimate is their ability to win 1v1s. If you can't win your 1v1s, you aren't going to ever really be able to get a high kill game. You might be able to with some streaks and some luck and shooting people in the back, but do you really want to know what a high kill game is? It's me winning a series of 1v1s throughout an 8-minute session and just allowing myself and playing the space so I can isolate 1v1s and win them. So if we want to be honest about how to get a better KD, you probably want to start by focusing on how often you actually are winning your 1v1s. And what I think a lot of people run into is what they're going to next say is, Ryan, I'm not even getting into 1v1s. I'm just getting shot in the back, or I'm getting shot by campers. And that's going to lead me into part 2. And that's that you play reactive, not proactive. I think an easier way of wording this would kind of be this. You want to be the hunter, not the prey. If you are, in this metaphor, the prey, you are sitting there waiting to react to whatever signs that the hunter's going to give you that they're there. And then once you see him, you're going to run. And you aren't going to be confident. You aren't going to be out there searching for the fight and all those things because, well, you're a prey. But that's not the way to play Call of Duty. You don't want to be playing scared, waiting to react to some dude like me to push you with my slide cancel and movement. You don't want that. What you want to be is me. You want to be the person who's pushing. You want to be the hunter. You want to be the one who sees the red dots on the UAV, and that doesn't scare you. That excites you. Those are the people you want to go after. But I think the key part of this is a lot of people hear this and they get over aggressive. If you ever actually study how a wild animal hunts, they don't do it recklessly. What they do is they search for signs of the prey, they take their time, and when the moment is right, that's when they strike. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do. They just think it's about running in like a headless chicken going for the kills, and that's not what I do. I oftentimes try and flank. I try and play around the objective and make sure they can't get to the objective. I try and understand where they're spawning and play off their red dots, and I always try to get the advantage in my gunfights. Obviously, that can't always happen. But some people think that just because I'm saying you need to be aggressive, they think that means you need to just hold down that sprint button and just run at them until you see them, and that's how you're going to win. Because guess what, guys? That's going to lead me into part 3, and that's this. Stop sprinting and start shooting. I'm also going to be honest, guys. I had to leave a little part of this out, and it's instead of sprinting, start pre-aiming. I'm not kidding. You need to replace the amount of time you sprint with spending a lot more time pre-aiming, even if you're using an aggressive SMG like me. I need you to just think about this. Who do you think is going to win a gunfight? If you have player A who's aimed down sight, ready for player B, and then you have player B who's sprinting around the corner like a headless chicken. Who do you think is going to win that gunfight? It's player A 9 out of 10 times, unless player B is the most cracked headless chicken out there ever. And that's exactly my point. I really mean it. If you go into your games and you just track the amount of deaths that you have because you got caught sprinting, and by the time you pulled your gun up and got 1 or 2 shots off on your opponent, you already were dead, it's going to surprise you. Because if instead of, only getting 1 or 2 shots, having them half health and you dying, what's going to happen instead if you're just pre-aimed is you're going to just kill them. And if you start doing that one time and then you start stacking that and figuring out how to do that throughout the course of your game, Now you're going to start being able to get 40, 50 kill games, 60 kill games, 70 kill games. And if you can do that, well, then you're going to get a pretty good KD. And I know I said at the beginning of the video that a KD doesn't matter, and it really doesn't in my opinion, but it is also something we like to have. I think what you realistically want to shoot for a KD ratio is anything over 1. Don't stress about too much anything over that. I have a 1.75 right now. When I use meta weapons like this Rival 9, it trends up, but I've been going for the mastery camos and I've been using pretty terrible guns because I like to prioritize those first. And then obviously he's going to tank your KD. And guess what, guys? I don't care. That's my point. If you ruin the fun of the game and you don't focus on actually getting better to focus on some pointless stat, you aren't going to have fun overall. It's not going to be worth it. You aren't going to feel good about having that stat, and that's not the point. All that stat represents is your ability to get kills and not die, and there's a ton of easy ways to farm that. I could make a new account right now, and even with skill-based matchmaking, because this is a pretty high skill-based matchmaking lobby, and I go 70 and 21, but I can make a new account and have a 5 KD by sitting at the back of the map with ARs and claymores and whatnot, but I would have a way lower score per minute, I would have way less kills per game, and my gameplay would be 10 times more boring, and no one would want to watch it, and it wouldn't make me a better player, because that's the thing. Would you rather have a score of 20 kills to 4 deaths, which would give you a 5 KD, or would you rather have the scoreline I had of 70 kills and 21 deaths? Because technically, my 3.2 KD or whatever it is a lower KD than the person who went 20 and 5, or 20 and 4, sorry. But ask anyone, and if you just watch the gameplay, we all know who's the better player. It's probably the player who can drop 70 kills with the 3 KD. That to me speaks a lot more volumes than getting a 5 KD with only 20 kills and by helping the objective none. If you watch almost all of my kills and whatnot, it's me playing around the hill. I don't have a lot of hill time, but if you're at all familiar with competitive Call of Duty, obviously we don't have the exact same roles as we used to back in the day with Black Ops 2, but there was the role of the Slayer, and their job is to slay the people around the hill, to slay the people on the way to getting to the hill, and the people just rotating for next and all of that. And if you look at my gameplay, I am not just completely abandoning the objective. I am playing around the objective almost the entire game. So what do you think's better? To have 70 kills and 21 deaths and actually play the objective, or to have 20 kills and 4 deaths and do nothing to help your team win? Unfortunately, this is the end of the gameplay, and I really did just want to show you guys the raw gameplay of me dropping 70 kills. The reason for that, though, is because I just wanted to show the difference between all these fancy edited clips, like I did in my last video, and the difference between the actual gameplay where I show you my deaths and things like that as well. I also want to say, guys, Warzone 2 is 2 weeks out, and I am so excited for that, and expect a ton more content when Warzone's actually out, because I'm obviously a more Warzone focused person and channel. Thank you guys for watching these videos. It's been Ryan. I hope you have a good day. Happy Thanksgiving, even though this video is going to be released the day after. Peace.